Peace from God our Father and grace from our Lord Jesus Christ. May the Spirit of God give you the ears to hear, a heart to perceive, and eyes to see. In Jesus' name, I am Sister Liberty, and I'm back here once again preaching the everlasting gospel of Jesus Christ. We are talking today about God delivering his servants that trust in him from the fire. We can trust that God is going to keep us even while we are going through, even in the midst of adversity and opposition. Being able to take God at his word, everything that God has spoken to us, everything that God has said, everything that we know God to be, being able to stand on that, not allowing circumstances and situations to tell us who our God is. We're supposed to face our opposition, our circumstances, our situations, and tell these things who our God is, tell these things about the God that we serve. So I got a chance to read Daniel chapter 3 and just being reminded that God is with us even through the fire, even when it seems like all hope is lost, even when it seems like we've exhausted all of our strength, we've exhausted all of, I don't want to say our options, because God is supposed to be our only option. God is supposed to be our only source of help, but feeling as though we don't have any more strength, we don't have any more in us to press beyond, knowing that it's God that is carrying us. It's God that's going before us, going ahead of us. And so you have these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who is among the king's provinces. I don't know what you want to call it. But they have a role. Yes, I think he does say whom. So this is Daniel chapter 3, verse 12. It says, there are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. So King Nebuchadnezzar, after his dream was interpreted by Daniel tells him the dream that he had and tells him what the dream meant. I guess he thought it would be a good idea to just create this golden image and get everybody in this nation, in this region, to bow down to it. And he says anybody who does not fall down and worship this image, he's going to cast into a fiery furnace. So you have Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who's like, we're not bowing. And they don't make that known verbally yet. They just communicate that with their body, with their disposition. So as the signals are going off, the signs are going off to bow, right? There's music that's playing that's supposed to communicate to the people, hey, it's time to bow. So as this is happening and they're the only ones left standing, they stand out. Everyone else is bowing and they're the only ones not bowing. This allows for them to be called out and taken before the king. And so King Nebuchadnezzar is like, okay, I'm going to give y'all another chance. When y'all hear this music, when y'all hear the sound of the harp, the psaltery, the sackbut, what does he call it? He calls one of them, what is it? I can't even name it. He says, the flute, yes, the cornet, the flute, the harp, the psaltery, the sackbut, and all kind of music. He says, fall down and worship the statue. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they tell the king, we are not careful to answer you. We're not even considering how we are about to respond right now, because it doesn't even matter, because we serve one God and we're not going to bow down to any other God. And so as we're considering God delivering those of us that trust in him, we're not talking about God delivering us from circumstances and situations that we've gotten ourselves into. We're not talking about that. And it's not that God can't, because God is faithful to the faithful. So even when you and I, as sons of God, as believers, when we do fall short, when we do make mistakes, God turns even the mistakes of the believers into a blessing. Into a blessing. He turns your mistakes into a blessing. Those that are faithful to him. But I'm more so talking about when we find ourselves going through adverse circumstances, adverse situations that is really outside of our control. Things that we can't help, like being persecuted, like, being accused for things that we've not done, being defrauded. When we find ourselves through these circumstances, and what can make them fiery is them getting heated. What can make them fiery is them pulling on our emotions, them pulling on our feelings, feeling as though, Lord, if you don't come and intervene, God, if you don't step in right now, God, if you don't show up, then this circumstance, this situation is going to consume me. It is going to overtake me. It's going to cause me to doubt you, doubt that you're near, doubt that you're present, doubt that you save your sons, you deliver your sons out of the hands of the enemy. And so God takes us through these circumstances. God allows for us to go through certain situations in different seasons, some more fiery than others, so that our hearts are proven and our hearts can show what do we really believe, because I can know that God is real and God is a deliverer. But when I'm going through my own fiery trials and my own seasons of heat, of just heat, what do I really believe? Do I believe that God is going to deliver me? Do I believe God is going to make a way out of no way? Do I believe God is going to cause me to triumph over my enemies and over every situation? Do I believe that God is going to see me through? What do I believe? Because it can't just be words. I can't just be someone who knows. I have to believe. And that's what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego proved, that they believe. And we know that they believe because one of the things that they said was, and he says, if it be so, our God whom we serve. So you have to serve God to be a servant of God. You have to serve him to be his. It says our God whom we serve is able. He's letting it be known that our God is able. Okay, he's able. He's not weak. He's not far away. He's not distant. He's not weak in what he can do. He is strong. He's able to do exceedingly abundantly all we can ask or think. He's able to do what we've not even seen yet. He says our God is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. Why? Because our God is a consuming fire. Our God is an everlasting burning. He can deliver us from this fire, this natural fire. He's an eternal fire. He's a spiritual fire, and he can take us out of this situation. God can take you out of the situation. God can walk you through the situation unharmed, meaning you coming out with peace, you coming out with joy, you coming out with strength, you coming out with spoil, you coming out more, with more than how you went in. God can do that. He says, and he will deliver us out of your hands. So they have faith. Servants of the Most High God have to have faith. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. We have to have faith that even when we don't see God present, even when we don't see God showing up, that he's not absent, that he's not, void from this moment, from this situation. No, we already know that we serve a God who's able. This is what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is communicating, that we serve a God who's able, and he blows the mind of not just us, but the onlookers. He blows the mind of the people. And let me tell you, as you read further down in Daniel chapter 3, the people were astonished. And I think it uses that word. King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished. Okay, let's keep reading. He says, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, listen, in case he decides he doesn't want to do it, because Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego understands that, no, we do serve a God that does whatsoever pleases him. And so he may not remove us out of the situation. He may not show up right now, right? He may not move. He's going to do whatever he wants. We want you to know that we serve a God who does whatever pleases him. If it pleases the king, he's going to do it. And they're saying, but if he doesn't, we want you to know that at the end of this all, we're still not going to bow. We're still not going to bow. That we will not serve your God, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. You set this up. We didn't contribute. We weren't out here building and giving you the resources to build this golden calf. This is something that you took upon yourself. So many times we're going to find ourselves in situations that we did not partake in. We're going to find ourselves in situations that we did not agree to. We did not, contribute to, yet we're in the midst of this. We're right here. God, I'm going through this fiery season right now. And I didn't do anything to be here, but I'm here. I'm here. It's our responsibility to know what our disposition in these seasons are supposed to look like. Our countenance. Our first response when we are going through these different seasons of just fiery trials is worship. Is worship. And that's what we're going to see here, that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego communicated. This is what they displayed. They understood their roles. They understood who and what they were and whose they were. Oh no, we're not just servants. We're servants of the Most High God. It says this, and when King Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, therefore he spoke and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was to be heated. So he was upset. He felt humiliated. He felt disrespected. At this point, I have to heat the furnace 7 times hotter because of what you all just did. I have to make an example out of you all. And that's what he did. That's what he did. It says that he commanded the most mighty man that was in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in coats, their hosens and their hats and their other garments. So everything that they had, they gave to them, and they took that with them, and was cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's command was urgent and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flames of the fire, it killed the man that had to throw them in there. It killed them because it was so hot, and the request from the king was so hasty. It was so quick. It was so urgent. And so they threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. And guess what they did? This is what we need to walk away with of our roles as servants. Servants, they serve. It says Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So they were bound, meaning they were limited with their movement. They were restrained. They were restrained. They could not move, but yet they were still able to bound, being in this state, knowing how to have the right response in every moment. We don't see them crying out. We don't see them operating in fear. We see them operating according to faith, according to what they believe. They believe their God. They believe their God. And so they bowed. Bowing is an expression of worship. Bowing is a form of worship. That was their default. That has to be our first response. You and I are going to find ourselves in situations that we did not sign up for. We did not agree to, yet we're here. What is God doing? God is trying to exercise our muscle of faith. God is trying to develop us in areas of where he's taking us. He's promoting us. Whenever God is allowing you to go through seasons of fiery trials, that means promotion is near. Promotion is close by. Elevation. As God is elevating us, it is going to look different. Every time. Sometimes it's going to look like a separation. Sometimes it's going to look like a purging. Sometimes it's going to look like just God wanting to be glorified. And that's what we see here. God being glorified. It says this in verse 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished. What is it? Astonished. Yeah, astonished. Right? He was completely just blown away at what his eyes was beholding. People are going to be astonished at how God works in your life. People are going to be moved, blown away at the way God responds to you. Like, whoa, this person should have been stripped from every bit of emotion, every bit of hope, every bit of joy, every bit of strength. Yet this person is carrying joy as if nothing is happening in their lives. This person is standing on the foundation of their faith as if nothing is happening in their lives. It says Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, okay? He rose up quickly. Why? Because what his eyes was beholding. Wait a minute. This is unnatural. And that's what I'm trying to get you to walk away with, is that we serve a God who's not limited to the natural. He's unnatural. He's supernatural. He's miraculous. The God that we serve is a miraculous God, and he does miraculous things. It says, he spoke and said unto the counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound? Not only did we cast them, but we made it to where they were completely restrained. They were completely limited to what they can do. They can't run out, right? They can't just do whatever they feel. They're bound, yet they're bowing. He says, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose. The Spirit of God comes to make us loose from what is keeping us bound. The circumstances, the situation, the fiery trials, the adversity, the opposition, the persecution, the attacks against your mind, the warfare that you and I are going through. He comes to make us loose from that so that we're not controlled by it, so that we're not bound to what should be driving our emotions. The situation that you're in, it should be controlling you, yet God is giving you power to rise above it. God is giving you power to be loose from the circumstance, from the situation, from the relationship. He's come to give us power. He says there are 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire. Now they're exercising what has just been done. Now that I'm loose, I have to walk in that. I have to walk in that. And he says they have no hurt, meaning they're not screaming. They're not being afflicted by the fire. The fire has no hold on them. The fire has no dominion over them. The fire has no control over them. They're with the everlasting burning. It says in the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. He answered and said, let me go back down to 26. It says, then King Nebuchadnezzar came to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants. He's confessing this out of his own mouth. People are going to see God take you through some things and watch God bring you out. And they'll be able to know and declare out of their mouths, no, this is a child of the Most High God. No, this is the Lord's anointed. No, God favors this person. Oh, no, the hand of God is with that person. Don't mess with them. Be careful how you speak with them. Be careful how you handle her. Why? Because I watched God defend her. I watched God deliver him. Be careful. Your life is going to be the biggest testimony. Your life is going to be the biggest message that is ever communicated. People will watch your life before they ever read the Bible. And as they see your life is supposed to testify of the God that you serve. Your life is supposed to testify of the goodness of God. He says, you servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. It says the princes, the governors, the captains, the kings, the counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose body the fire had no power. Yes, circumstances that you go through will have no power over you when you are committed to God. James is going to say, submit yourself therefore to God, resist the devil and he will flee. When I am yielded while I'm going through in this situation, I can feel it. I can see it. Becoming the kind of person, though, who doesn't live by what they see and how they feel, God can allow you to not be overtaken. God can allow you to be stable in your emotions, as opposed to this situation. It should be draining you from your emotions. It should cause you to become grieved to the core. It should cause you to become bitter. It should be causing you to become unstable in your emotions and just angry at the world, angry at God. It should be. But because there is a God and he's able to do above all we can ask or think. He's giving you power through the circumstance. He's giving you power in the season. He's giving you strength and hope where you don't even know where it's coming from. All you know is that you don't look like how your situation is. Because you're not your situation. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they don't even look like they were just in the fire. It says, whose body the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head siege, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire. You're not going to look like your situation. You're not going to look like where you just came from. You're not going to smell like it. You're not going to talk like it. You're not going to walk like it, because it's not you. You're not your situation. You're not your circumstance. You're not even the season that you're going through. And I don't know what you're going through, but God knows. God knows why he's taking you through and what it is he's trying to develop in you. What parts of you he's trying to exercise and strengthen. He knows that you need more faith. God knows that you need more joy. He knows that you need more love. You need more hope, right? You need more strength. You need more grace. He knows. So he's going to take you through this to see, okay, how are you going to respond? Because if you believe that I'm able, then I can be that and more. I can show you greater things that you look not for. I can prove to your onlookers. I can prove to your enemies. I can prove to those that are saying, oh, they won't make it out of that. I can prove to them that I'm able. I can prove to them that you're able and that you're stronger than your circumstance. I can prove, that you're greater than the storm. You're stronger than the storm. Yes, I can prove to them. It says, then King, verse 28, then, okay, so I don't think I finished the end of that. It says, nor the smell of the fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered, listen to this, delivered his servants that trusted in him and have changed the king's words. God will change the words of people. God will change the circumstance. He will change the situation, and yielded their bodies that they might not have served nor worship any other God except their own God. Listen, you can only become fire when you are dwelling with the everlasting burning. Do you realize that the Spirit of God was present where they were? And he made them loose. He turned them free from the situation. This should have overtaken them. We're understanding that this was real life. This wasn't a metaphor. This wasn't figurative language. They were actually in a fiery furnace. They were in this situation that should have taken their lives. But God, that's what we're standing on. But God, but there is a God. I know I'm going through marital issues. I know I'm going through financial issues. I know I'm going through things with my kids. I'm going through health issues. But God, is there God or is there not a God? Because I have to prove to my situation. I have to prove to the doctors. I have to prove to my family, to the world, to your world, that there is a God and that he's active in the earth. God is not just the God that we read about in the Bible. He has to be the God of our lives. We have to know God and know that he is a deliverer. How many times has God taken us out of situations that should have taken us out? What the devil sought for your bad, God turned around for your good. No, this situation, it should have defeated you. You should have been dead in that car accident. That illness, that sickness, that diagnostic you got from the doctor, it should have been worse. But God, if we could just make room for God to be God, then we could see the hand of God move just like we read about in the Bible. We're not supposed to read the Bible and it just be pretty literature. We're supposed to read the Bible and take it in and see, well, how does this apply in my life? Where is this supposed to show up in my life? Because the Bible is supposed to be unfolding in our lives. The Bible is supposed to be active in our lives. It's supposed to be coming alive in our lives. The word of God is true. The word of God is active. God is not a man that he should lie. So if he says it, that means we have to believe it. You have to become a believer that even when the doctor says, even when the debt collector says, even when family members says, people say, the world say, the news say, your body says, you have to prove to them that there is a God in Israel. You have to prove to them that, oh no, I serve a God that's bigger than the government. I serve a God that goes beyond limitations of the human mind. I serve a God who's near and not a God afar off. His hand is not too short that he can't reach down and save. God is promising to change us permanently. God is promising to be our God. Is that not what he says in his word? That he would be our God and that we will be his people. He's trying to make believers out of us so that he can prove himself, so that he can show himself mighty in our lives. Your world needs to know that there is a God, but you have to prove that through your actions. You have to tell your situations and your circumstance who God is, and that you don't get to buckle under pressure just because things get hot and things, aren't what you think they should be. You have to stand on what you believe. Are you a son or are you not? Are you a servant or are you not? Are you a believer or are you not? Because he's going to deliver those servants that trust in him. I have to trust. I have to know that God is trustworthy. I have to know that I can put my hope in him. I have to believe that he's not going to leave me nor forsake me. He said he would never put more on me than I can bear. Paul is going to say God will not suffer you more than you are able to. But with the temptation, he makes a way of escape. God knows what you can handle. And so if he's taking you through it, it's because he's already prepared for you to come out of it. He already knows, oh no, I'm going to make you loose. I'm going to liberate you and make you free. I know you think that this situation is going to be forever, but it really is only a moment. If you can just trust me, if you can believe that I am able. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego says, we know that our God is able. We don't know what you know and what you believe, but we know that our God is able. But even if he doesn't, because we serve a God who does whatsoever pleases him, even if he doesn't, we're not going to yield. We're not going to conform. We're not going to change our minds. People have allowed circumstances and situations and what the world is doing and saying to change their minds about their God. Don't let nobody change your mind about your God. He's your God. And you have to be jealous in that way. We sung a song Friday night. He might be yours, but he's mine. He is mine. He's my God. He's my God. And I have to know that he's mine. Nothing and no one else should be able to change my mind about the God that I serve. We have to be fully convinced and fully persuaded. And I have to live that every moment, even when I'm going through. I have to be fully convinced and fully persuaded. No, he's my God and I know my God. If I don't know nothing else, I know my God. And if he's did it before, if God has done it before, meaning he's got you out of circumstances and situation and showed up on your behalf and showed out, then he can do it again. This time around is no different because we're still serving the same God. He's the same God of the Bible, the same God over Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He does not change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He does not change. So you have to believe that. You have to be fully convinced of that. And so that is my encouragement today. May the Lord give us grace to believe and to take him at his word. Allowing the Spirit of God to deliver us from all areas of unbelief. God, help my unbelief. God, make a believer out of me. If it's hard, it's because you need more of God. If it's too tough, it's because you need more of God. If you are going back on, what you're supposed to believe, you have other alternatives and other options, it is because you need more of God. You're not fully convinced. You're not fully persuaded. He's trying to make believers out of us so that we become his sons and he become our God. So may you be encouraged today in the mighty name of Jesus. God bless you.